Is this thing on? We're live.
Many of us have seen this clip by now. Imagine the time that went into learning all of those handshakes. In fact, you don't need to imagine. Look at some of the comments attached to that video. Creating this one special moment with his students took time, effort, and a whole lot of forethought. But why would he do that? Every minute he spends working on these handshakes is one less minute he spends teaching curriculum. Does having this ritual improve his students' achievement? Many would argue that yes, it does. This is the case for community building. Students don't always know that they have to give respect to get respect. Even the little things, saying please and thank you, including people, smiling, sometimes need to be explicitly taught. There needs to be a shift in thinking so that as teachers, we don't assume that a community exists in our classes before the students even enter the room. Community needs to be built and then maintained, and this needs to be done daily. Building community is not divorced from curriculum. In fact, it makes delivering curriculum easier. There are many roads to community building. Regardless of what path you might take, each approach has the same core values. First of all, building community is about understanding what needs to exist in order for the community to grow. Not every student comes to class knowing what it means to respect other students. Setting up our classroom norms is important, but we will gain much more if we co-construct those norms with our students. Students need to understand our day-to-day expectations and routines and how they fit into these expectations and routines. From this foundation, teaching and learning can happen. Once the explicit teachings of how to build community are understood, positive relationships can be built. As teachers, we need to create a common understanding of how each member of the classroom community can work together. This is not about knowing the learning. Rather, it is about knowing the people inside the classroom. If a common ground can be found and differences respectfully identified, the ice in the classroom can be broken. If positive relationships are built, everything else in our classroom becomes easier. The students are already on our side because they know we are on theirs. Finally, it is important to take our knowledge about our learners and use it with purpose. We need to know what works for each individual student and use that to support each of them equitably. Now is also the time to place some responsibility back on the student and ask them to reflect on themselves. Do students know how they learn best? Do they know how to work effectively together? How can we help them grow and succeed in our classrooms? So what happens when you show students how to respond to struggle, how to persevere, be resilient, show appreciation, and possibly most importantly, say thank you? Students become more willing to work with each other, not just their friends. There are less behavioral issues, and it becomes much easier to navigate the curriculum we have to teach. By modeling the behavior and attitudes that contribute to a safe and inclusive classroom, students become more willing to take risks. Mistakes become encouraged as a valuable learning experience rather than an embarrassment to be avoided. As the classroom teacher, it is important to emphasize that we are all learners. When we don't know the answer, we can ask our class to help find the information and strategies required. It's okay to show vulnerability to our students by not being the expert all the time. When we, the teachers, are not at the center of the classroom, we become mentors to all students and models for learning. Next time you are asked a question to which you don't know the answer, stop and say, "Hey, that's a great question. I don't have an answer for that. I'm learning too. It never stops. Why don't you learn along with me? I don't feel bad if I make a mistake, and neither should you." There's a lot of power in moments like this, and that's the case for community building.